Oh, Mrs. Garcia, how do you balance it all? You're a school counselor and new homeowner, a mother of two, and grad student. You're an Ander. At National University, we see the whole you. That's why we're dedicated to your professional growth through faculty mentorships and career support, so you can focus on what matters most. National University, supporting the whole you. Learn more at nu.edu.
Welcome to Make It Rain with Adam Schein on VSIN, the sports betting network.
Yes. Wednesday edition of Make It Rain with Adam Schein here on VSIN. And my goodness, we have so much to do today. What a night last night. Wild and crazy in the NBA. That was one of the zaniest, improbable, most exciting, wild rides we've ever seen. I mean, if you were a bettor last night, that Pacers-Bucks game kept you on your toes. Same with, obviously, the Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. We have so much to do to get into those games. Obviously, the Nuggets taking care of business against the Clippers, and the Orlando Magic are poof, gone. Magic. Another gem from Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. So we have a lot to say on that. We've got baseball. We've got afternoon baseball. We've got some fascinating baseball from last night. We won some, we lost some last night via our picks on Make It Rain with Adam Schein. We'll go over our hits, our regrets. We've got our basketball bets for tonight. We have a lot to do and a lot to say, including some interesting numbers on Luka and LeBron in spots where they are in an elimination game. I think that is pretty fascinating. We'll get into it. Sprinkle in a little football with some Minnesota Vikings odds conversation. We'll get into the Warriors. We'll get into all the pucks. Feeling great about the Oilers. Not so great about my Leafs. We'll get into everything going on in the world of sports and sports betting. And let's start with that absolutely zany ride last night with the Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Bucks are officially bounced from the postseason, and I don't think it's hyperbole to wonder aloud. This is, in fact, the final game for Giannis Antetokounmpo wearing a Milwaukee Bucks uniform. This was insane. And look at that final score in overtime, 119 to 118. And if you had the Bucks with the points, congrats. If you had them on the money line, damn, that hurts, because this game to me was over on so many occasions. The fact that the Bucks had a monster lead early, blew it at the end of regulation, they go to overtime, they had a big lead in overtime, and they lose a game where Gary Trent Jr., of all people, Gary Trent Jr. is going bonkers. I mean, are you kidding me? That was insane. 33 points, made 4 of his 8 threes in overtime. They were up 7, the Bucks were. If you started following, and I was, the live bets and the odds at the end of the game, I mean, Vegas rightly so thought this puppy was over, thought it was in the bank. Up 7. Nemhard had that unbelievable steal, and then that 3 made it 118-114. Then you saw the Trent turnover. Then you saw the Halliburton three-point play. Then you saw Trent turn it over again, just fumbled the basketball along the sideline. I mean, he looked like Ernest Biner out there. I mean, that was wild. That was insane. And then you saw what transpired with Halliburton. Layup at the end, down 1, hits the shot. That was incredible. Beats Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just amazing. And listen, obviously the end was wild. Then we see what transpired with Halliburton's dad and Giannis at the end. Good for Giannis for, being composed. Just a terrible job by Halliburton's father in every possible way. And then, post-game, given opportunities to say he's going to stay, Giannis Antetokounmpo did not say, I want to spend the rest of my life in Milwaukee. Why should he? Another game where over 30 points, double digits with the points and the rebounds and the assists, and has a monster game, and they can't get out of the first round. Dame's done for next year. Portis is a free agent. You got Brook Lopez as a free agent. Doc Rivers can't coach his way out of a paper bag. It's a mess. It's a complete utter mess. And, we can start naming the teams, whether it's Brooklyn or whether it's the Knicks or whether it's the Warriors or the Lakers or the Clippers or the Rockets or the Miami Heat. Giannis is going to force his way out, and honestly, I don't blame him. Pacers are a fun team to watch, and listen, Cleveland will be tested. They certainly were not tested when you take a look at what transpired in the first series against Miami. The odds are out, and the Cavs are monster-heavy favorites, and they should be. Series going to start on Sunday. I would guess right now this is a 5-game series when you take a look at the Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that's what we're looking at when you take a look at the series odds board. So I would say Cleveland in 5, which is plus 265. That's where my brain is at right now when it comes to the Pacers, who advance, but I don't think they're going to be around for long. Indiana Pacers will lose against the Cleveland Cavaliers coming up in the second round of the postseason. How about the Detroit Pistons, who did an excellent job? They hang on, they force a game 6, and the Pistons, obviously, just incredible with their tenacity. They jumped on my Knicks early, and we talked about this yesterday on Make It Rain with Adam Schein, that, frankly, at the end of the day, Knicks' effort needed to be amazing, because, you knew Detroit, after they got robbed on the non-call at the end of that game on Sunday, Detroit was going to come out like a house on fire, not to mention Detroit 2-0 regular season at Madison Square Garden. Now 2-1 in the playoffs at Madison Square Garden. Knicks did not match the energy in any way, shape, or form, which was very, very disappointing in every possible way. And, the fact that Tom Thibodeau, who I always defend, couldn't get Jalen Brunson and couldn't get Josh Hart back in the game, and 2 minutes of game action went by at the end after Hart and Brunson both had to leave. I'm screaming at the TV, timeout, 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 timeout. I know he was waiting, figuring that there was going to be a foul. Wasn't happening. And worst case scenario, you have someone for the Knicks foul him. I mean, it's just crazy. Got to stop the clock. Got to get Brunson a Hart. Brunson literally was just voted the most clutch player in the association. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And I always defend Tom Thibodeau. Always. My goodness. Awful. Absolutely, positively awful. I could not believe it. And, sake of fairness, Bridges had an open shot, but obviously he was not able to convert. And, that was just a killer. And listen, I'm scared. Check the odds. And I did hit the bet that we had on our NBA preview, where I said that we would see, this go over 5.5 for the games. That was one of our best bets, if you remember. So we certainly enjoyed cashing that one. But as a Knicks fan, that's, crazy consolation. Listen, I have disagreed with Vegas in a lot of ways on this series, and I still don't even understand how the Knicks right now are minus 500. Like, I would absolutely sprinkle on Detroit. I mean, the Knicks are just not trustworthy, and everything going on with Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks, and lack of offensive flow, and only one who brought it early on was Mitch Robinson. Very disappointed. I am a sick and really aggravated, pissed off Knicks fan today. And, give Cade Cunningham credit. He was the best player on the floor. He was outstanding in this game, and, he was doing everything and made all those plays late, especially when Brunson wasn't on the court. Tremendous, tremendous job here. So, Pistons deserve a lot of credit. I still think the Knicks will win this series, but on a confidence level, I'm sorry, I'm just not there in any way, shape, or form when it comes to my Knicks. How about the Nuggets and the Clippers last night? And this wasn't even close. And if you're a Clippers fan or a Clippers bettor, this was the fear, right? That you would get James Harden, the bad version of James Harden, the one who has been so troublesome and problematic for so long in the playoffs. Go back to Houston against San Antonio, it feels like a lifetime ago, or Houston against Golden State, or, Philly in the playoffs. Harden was terrible. Jamal Murray was tremendous. Russ Westbrook, outstanding. Love what we saw from Jokic with a triple-double. Gordon was tremendous. And the Nuggets, on the heels of that Aaron Gordon dunk at the end when nobody boxed out, they carried that momentum into Denver. In Denver. That was huge. Now, I still believe, when you look at the series board, that the Clippers win the series. Very much believe that. Still think they're the better team. If, in fact, James Harden does not play and does not play well, all bets are officially off when you take a look at the Clippers and the Nuggets for the rest of the way. So that's where I'm at in terms of, I'm staying with the pick, and they're going home, obviously, but listen, I am at a stage right now where this was the toughest series to pick. Obviously, 3 of the games have been phenomenal. 2 have been clunkers. And this was one that was all Denver all the time. Rough stuff if you're a bettor or a backer of the Clippers, either in this series or beyond. And let's make sure we give love here to the Boston Celtics, who made the magic poof disappear. That was a tremendous performance. Did not mess around. How about Jason Tatum, who has just been out of this world after what transpired when you take a look at sitting with an injury in game number 2. And you look at Tatum, 35 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, 11 for 11 from the line. And he has been out there pitching the perfect game. Just outstanding, just fantastic. And honestly, I just love the way the Celtics have been able to take care of business. And what an advantage now for Boston. And this is part of my frustration as a Knicks fan. Listen, I mean, my goodness. I can't believe the Knicks lost. And now the Celtics get to sit back and, wait for the Pistons-Knicks winner. And I still think the Knicks are going to win it. But if the Knicks and Celtics would have ended their first-round series same day, same time, then Boston wouldn't have this ultimate advantage in terms of rest. They already have the advantage in home court, already have the advantage in terms of talent, and now you give them this? Everything coming up Boston Celtics right now. I still think Cleveland wins the Eastern Conference, but man, what a night last night for Tatum and the Boston Celtics.
Oh, Mrs. Garcia, you're a school counselor and new homeowner and grad student. You're an Ander. National University supports the whole you, so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at nu.edu.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSIN, the sports betting network.
The NBA and NHL playoffs are heating up. MLB is in full swing. Kentucky Derby almost here. Don't watch. Don't just watch. Bet smarter with the VSiN Pro. Time is running out to get a full VSiN Pro access through August 1st for just $59, saving you over 33% off the monthly price. Sign up now and get access to daily recap of the best bets from all VSiN hosts and guests, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus our Kentucky Derby betting guide with previews and best bets on the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oats. Every sport, every edge, just one low price. Pretty amazing. You can sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe, VSiN.com, VSIN.com/subscribe. Welcome back. Make It Rain with Adam Schein here on VSiN. And it is time right now to shine on some baseball. Let's get some day ball updates for you. And let's start with what transpired this afternoon. It's a final with the Cardinals and the Reds. 6-0. St. Louis. How about it? The St. Louis Cardinals plus 125. So if you had the Cards, congrats. That's a nice little payday for you today. I thought that Cincinnati playing much better that the Cincinnati Reds would be able to execute today. 16-14 on the season. But the Cardinals, they're able to get a dub today. 6-0 this afternoon. And they will have another one coming up later today. So that's a good one today for the baseball updates for the afternoon ball. How about the Tigers and the Houston Astros? 7-1 is the score right now in the 4th inning. Tigers are mauling Houston in the A.J. Hinch revenge game. listen, Tigers are playing really good ball, which to me is not a surprise. And we said that they would ultimately find a way to win the division and make the playoffs. Javi Baez has a homer and 4 RBI in this one, which is pretty great if you're a fan of the Detroit Tigers. Marlins and the Dodgers about to get underway. Rockies and the Braves the same. It is the first inning in Los Angeles. Dodgers mauled the Miami Marlins yesterday, and we have the Rockies and the Braves about to start as well. So that is the afternoon baseball update. How about the New York Yankees? 4 dingers in the first inning. Yankees make history yesterday. Yankees become the first team in baseball history, to start a game with the first 3 batters hitting home runs. First 3 batters hit home runs. It's the first time this has happened twice in the same season. Remember, they did it against the Brew Crew and Nasty Nestor, their old friend, on that first Saturday of the baseball season. That was a torpedo bat game. And then you see what transpired yesterday. And that is a mauling, my friends. And it is just incredible to watch. And Aaron Judge, minus 800 for the MVP in the American League. I mean, there is nobody else to believe in or bet on. I mean, this thing is toast, man. I mean, it's over in every possible way. So excellent stuff when you look at it from a Bronx Bomber perspective. Yankees and Orioles will play another one in humid Baltimore tonight, and we expect another victory for the New York Yankees. Basically a pick'em based upon the pitching matchup, but Yankees money line, Yankees run line certainly is a solid play when you take a look at the odds for tonight's game. Phillies Nats, you know, that one caught my attention based upon the amount of action we had on it. And listen, we had the Nats money line. So, you know, when they found a way to tie the game, when they were down to their last strike, I mean, I was certainly excited about that. Then they lost, and I was not as excited. You look at what happened with Gore and Wheeler. They were strong last night. Gore just did not hit that prop in terms of the strikeouts. It was 6.5. He struck out 6. I mean, that's under the umbrella of Vegas always knows. Philly is a heavy favorite tonight, minus 192 for the Philadelphia Phillies, who have the Washington Nationals again tonight. And obviously that is going to be excellent when you take a look at the Philadelphia Phillies and what is going on with this baseball team later tonight in Philadelphia. Mets take game 1 of their series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And listen, this Mets team, Mets got it going on. Mets absolutely got it going on. I love what I'm seeing from the Mets. I've been dead wrong on the Mets to start the season. I did not have them making the playoffs. And look, the Mets are playing great ball. And every night it matters. They don't rest on their laurels. They have great at-bats. Francisco Lindor is hitting bombs. Tom Hanks loves it. You know, I just love... Lindor, by the way, is a sneaky good value pick when it comes to the MVP in the National League. I'm just telling you. And they were able to take care of business and just dish out all sorts of punishment last night on the Arizona Diamondbacks. When you look at the matchup for tonight, Mets Diamondbacks, I'll tell you, it's going to be real interesting to see who gets the dub tonight. I think that the Diamondbacks with Corbin Burns on the bump will be able to take care of business, but damn, I mean, at this stage, I'm not betting against the Mets, even though Arizona has the pitching matchup. For giggles, because we believe in fairness, check out the World Series odds, and I think we need to have this conversation here. And Vegas is on to the Mets, right? And the Dodgers are still rightly the odds-on heavy favorite, even with Glasnow and Snell, of course, both on the injured list. But look at the Mets, third best odds. Tigers, we referenced earlier and what they're able to do. You know, Tigers have the fourth best odds, but the Mets have earned that. They're playing unbelievable ball. They deserve a lot of credit, and I can't criticize that at all. And there's a lot of reasons to think they're going to keep it going. Plus, have the resources to go out and make a trade if need be. So that is excellent stuff here when you look at it for the New York Mets. How about the Cubbies and the Pirates? I mean, that was a good one as Carson Kelly continues to rake. I mean, you talk about a backstop that's been able to absolutely smacked the ball at the beginning of the season, and he had a 2-run jack for the Cubs. And, I mean, please, the Pirates, it's amateur hour. That owner does not spend. That owner does not care. Cubs have an opportunity to keep the good times going tonight. At 9-0 last night was the final score, and the Cubbies are heavy favorites tonight when you look at the Cubs, minus 166, going up against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Finally, my Royals are starting to ultimately get it going, which is about damn time. Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the 8th player in Royals history with a 20-game hitting streak. And my goodness, this cat is a freak. And listen, I told you can't bet on anybody else other than Aaron Judge when it comes to the MVP. Remember, Witt Jr. was my pick for MVP, my bet for MVP before the season started. But things are now moving at a stage where the Royals, they're starting to hit. First 2-3 weeks of the season was a bit of an underachieving slop fest here for Kansas City. Very, very frustrating on every single level for the Kansas City Royals. But take a look at the American League Central and the odds. And the Tigers deserve to be considered the favorites. And we just showed you they've got the 4th best odds when it comes to the World Series. The AL Central odds are certainly noteworthy to me. And listen, I can wrap my brain around this with the Tigers right now as a heavy favorite. Remember, before the season started, we had the Royals winning the division. And, I still stand by that prediction. And they're playing much better baseball now. I had the Tigers second. And listen, we were right about the Twins not being a factor in any way, shape, or form. How about the Dodgers from last night and their ability to go out and absolutely crush the Miami Marlins? Listen, I thought the Marlins had a real shot in this one based upon the pitching matchup. And the final score is 15-2 Dodgers. Sandy Alcantara on the bump, and that obviously did not work out. And the Shohei Ohtani last night, homer, steal, just incredible. And I want you to take a look at the National League West odds, right? And first of all, the Colorado Rockies should be thrown out of baseball. Seriously. They are 4-25. Begs the question, how the hell did they ever win 4? Seriously. Like, this team is an unwatchable, unmitigated disaster. And look at the records and the odds for the rest of the teams in this division. Dodgers are 20-10. And even with all the injuries and, the relative mediocre play since the 8-0 start, 9-0 start, Dodgers still have twice the amount of wins compared to contrast to losses. Still heavy favorite in Vegas to win the division. The Diamondbacks hovering around 500 still think they're loaded and they'll find a way to do great things this year. Padres, Giants, they're going at it. And listen, these two teams, I think, are eerily similar. Basically the same record for all intents and purposes. And you have the Padres with better odds to ultimately win the division than the Giants when you take a look at the National League West, which could get 4 teams in the playoffs when it's all said and done. That, to me, would not be crazy.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSIN, the sports betting network.
Whether you're placing your first bets or you've been playing the ponies for years, VSIN's Kentucky Derby betting guide has everything you need to get ahead on Derby Day. Inside the guide, you'll find a clear breakdown on how to bet horse racing, great for beginners, detailed previews of both the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oats, best bets from top racing experts to help serious sports bettors cash in. The guide is yours with a VSiN Pro subscription. Start today for just $9.99 to get your first 30 days of VSiN Pro, including Derby Guide, daily best bets, exclusive betting splits, and more. Sign up now at vsin.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Welcome back, Make It Rain with Adam Schein. And joining us right now live on the Progressive Guest Line, you know him, you love him, you can't live without him. Our guy Mike Somich, of course, the host of Ready, Set, Bets every weekend on VSIN. Mike, how are you, my friends?
I'm doing great, especially after that intro, Adam. There, I appreciate the love.
Listen, you're fantastic. I love your show. I love your words. I love what you write on VSIN.com. And I was just telling you off air, and I read the promo. And listen, I'm always honest with the audience. I am a neophyte and a novice when it comes to betting on horses. I always like to throw a couple of bucks on the Kentucky Derby, but in terms of how to do it, man, this VSiN guide was a Bible for me. I literally woke up today, I'm reading this thing, and after I read it again. So according to the betting guide on VSiN, the most likely winner is number 8, Journalism, which as a journalism major, I'm fine with that. So I'm curious, are you going to bet this pony?
You know, I like Journalism a lot. I don't like betting the favorite in the Derby to win, though. I did it last year, and I felt terrible about myself when the horse did not win. This is a 20-horse field. You got to take some shots in these bigger field races. I think Journalism is your most likely winner. Now, you know, is he going to win 20% of the time? That's what you need to make money at 4-1. That's a little bit of a stretch. That's very tough to do in a 20-horse field. However, like on paper, Journalism is the best horse. And the draw could not have been better for him. Sitting in the 8 post, one of the most coveted spots in the entire Kentucky Derby gate, is a huge advantage as well. Has a ton of speed to his inside and closers all around him, so he should be able to get a stalking trip, which is exactly what he likes. But the big knock with me on Journalism, he's faced 4 other horses at most in 4 of his 5 starts. So a lot of 5-horse field, short fields, doesn't have to deal with a lot of traffic, with trip trouble, with adversity. All of those things will be in play come Saturday.
How about Sovereignty 12-1? You a believer there?
I am, and this is the horse that's being forgotten right now. When the morning line was sitting at a 6-1 price, and we've seen this horse float all the way up to 12-1. Sandman's taking a ton of money, Journalism taking a ton of money, even Rodriguez in the 4, and everyone seems to be forgetting about Sovereignty, who back as a 2-year-old won the Street Sense over this Kentucky Derby racetrack, has an awesome turn of foot, which means that the horse can just explode down the lane. Absolutely will love this long Kentucky Derby stretch, is bred to really enjoy the 1.25 mile distance. And to me, the price is right here with Sovereignty as well. Trainer Bill Mott, jockey Junior Alvarado know how to win big races. And like, if you told me just, hey, who do you think is going to win the race? No matter what the odds, I think Journalism and Sovereignty are the 2 horses I'd name, and one is sitting there 4-1, the other's 12-1. I'll take the bigger price here. So Sovereignty going to be my pick to win this 151st run for the Roses.
All right, I'm going in with you, Mike. Let's go. I'm going to follow along. Sovereignty is the official pick right now. I'm making rain with Adam Schein. I'm all in. Are there any other quote-unquote long shots that you think we should be keeping our eye on here?
Yeah, I think there's 2 other horses, really 3 other horses, but 2 that really catch my eye. The number 10 Grande, Todd Pletcher, Mike Rapoli. This horse is 20-1 on the morning line. We're seeing 16, 17-1 right now in the live odds board. Very untested horse. Has only run 3 times prior in his career. Just faced Graded Stakes Company once. That was in the Wood Memorial up at Aqueduct. Ran second behind Rodriguez that day. But Rodriguez got everything his own way. It was a slow pace. He was on the front end. He controlled it. Grande was forced 3-4 wide on both the turns. Didn't really get any pace to chase. That will change come Saturday. There's a lot of pace in this race. Grande has a big chance to sit a similar trip to Journalism at a much bigger number. And then the 14 Tistastic, a horse I wasn't that high on about a week ago. But the more you watch the Louisiana Derby and what he was able to do to weave through traffic, the more I had pictures of Mage, the horse that won this 2 years ago, pop into my mind. He's athletic as a horse. And that's not a term often used for racehorses, but he can weave in and out of traffic. He can beat other horses to holes, which makes a huge difference when you have a 20-horse field and you know you're going to face some type of traffic trouble. You want a crazy big price. The number 3, Final Gambit. This horse 30-1 on the morning line. I've seen as high as 50-1 in fixed odds markets. He's going to be flying home late. I'm not sure if he's able to win the race, but he is definitely one you want to include in your trifecta and your superfecta bets come Derby Day.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let's get into some of the pucks here. And listen, Hurricanes become the first team to advance to the second round. And, you know, the Devils officially out. And I'm curious to get your take now on the Hurricanes here, Mike, moving forward.
You know, this Canes team is a very good team in the Eastern Conference. And I say that because much like the NBA, it feels like we've got two separate conferences here. You look in the West, in every single game, high flying. You see fast, crisp passes and players that can put the puck in the net. In the East, you just don't see that same offensive ability. Now, we did see a 5-4 game last night to wrap up this series, but this is a Hurricanes team that has struggled to put the puck in the net against the New Jersey Devils, was structurally not nearly as good defensively as some of the teams they're going to face down the line. I think you get a fascinating second-round matchup. We'll talk about the Capitals in a second here. They most likely advance on and will take on the Hurricanes in the second round. That's very interesting. I think the Hurricanes can get past that matchup. But if it's Florida, if it's Tampa, if it's Toronto that's waiting for them in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think they might be in a little bit over their head when they get to that specific round. But I don't want to sell this Carolina team short because they do a great job with puck possession and dominating play and being able to really enforce their will. They're just not that talented, so they don't score that often when they're enforcing their will. And then you get one bad bounce, and all of a sudden you're in trouble in hockey.
You deliver that well. They're just not that talented. I would echo that sentiment completely. Which is why I do think, in all seriousness, right? It's true. It's 100% true. Yeah. I think Washington needs to win tonight. Just make sure they get to the next round, get the requisite rest. I think that's a big deal. I do think Washington can beat the Hurricanes, just to throw that out there. What are you looking for tonight with the Capitals and the Canadiens?
I think you get your wish. I think Washington takes care of business tonight. I don't want to lay the minus 192. That's a little bit pricey for me. I agree the number should be right around there, so I'm not saying don't bet Washington. I just think that there are other ways to bet them that offer a little bit more value. I put a ticket on the Capitals in to win in regulation, so a three-way 60-minute line. You can get them minus 120 versus the minus 192 out there. I think that's a great way to bet this game. I don't mind laying the goal and a half here either. In an elimination game, you're seeing goalies pulled with 3-4 minutes when it's a one-goal game. That offers the Capitals a ton of time to try and go out there and get an empty net goal against this Canadiens team. So that kind of pushes me toward the minus 1.5 plus 136 if you want the Capitals. If you're looking for a prop in this one, Adam, Cole Caulfield, second right now in the playoffs with 21 shots attempted. Also second in the playoffs with 11 of his shots blocked. So he's had 32 shots attempted on net. Right now is the over-under for shots on goal tonight sitting at 2.5. It's pretty juiced, but you can get plus money, plus 120 on 3.5 or more shots. Like that quite a bit for Cole Caulfield tonight.
All right, let's get into the Blues and the Jets. And you know, my big pick was St. Louis to win this series in 7. And the first two games, down 0-2, they lose by a goal in each. I'm like, geez, there's no chance. Then they tie it up. And I think they're going to win tonight. I don't want to get animated. I don't want to get cocky. I don't want to do that. But, Mike, I think my Blues have a shot. Play Gloria. I think they win tonight.
It's our Blues here, Adam. If you look right over my shoulder there, that's Louis holding the Stanley Cup. This is a Blues team where I didn't bet them game 1. I didn't bet them game 2. I bet them game 3 and game 4. They are a force at home. And we've seen them win 14 straight home games now. They head on the road. Look, this shouldn't be plus 150. I got it at plus 160 earlier today. It got as high as that number. You saw this Winnipeg Jets team keep getting bet out. There's a lot of question marks for Winnipeg right now. They gave up 11 goals, or Hellebuck gave up 11 goals. They gave up 12 in the 2 home games for St. Louis. If St. Louis plays offensively like they did at home on the road, the Jets are in trouble here. The Blues have the better goalie. The Blues have the better defense. They're not quite as deep as the Jets, but they're very close. I think St. Louis takes care of business tonight. And Adam, they're going to win in 6, not 7.
Wow, Mike, I'll sign up for that. Listen, that would be amazing. We've got the Blues winning the series. So any way it happens, imagine that 4 straight here for the Blues. They'll be saying same old Jets in Winnipeg. My goodness, Mike, great stuff. And keep up the excellent work. And congrats on the Kentucky Derby betting guide. Just incredible. You and Adam Burke and company, sensational. Keep up the great work. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Oh, Mrs. Garcia, how do you balance it all? You're a school counselor and new homeowner, a mother of 2 and grad student. You're an Ander. At National University, we see the whole you. That's why we're dedicated to your professional growth through faculty mentorships and career support, so you can focus on what matters most. National University, supporting the whole you. Learn more at nu.edu.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Are you looking for a new way to feel the rush this Kentucky Derby? First Bet is your front row seat to the fastest 2 minutes in sports and so much more. Bet on the Derby and hundreds of other races every single day at firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com. New users can use the promo code VSIN200 to grab $200 with the sign-up bonus. Get ready. The Derby starts at firstbet.com. Welcome back, Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Time right now for our news, notes, nuggets, and nightly plays. And J.J. McCarthy talking to the gathered news media at Vikings offseason workouts and minicamp. And he says he's 100% healthy and he's ready to roll. And it is interesting. Kevin O'Connell, who I love, didn't go out and name McCarthy the starter, but it's clear that's going to happen. By the way, I thought the draft Minnesota had was fine. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I thought it was the best draft of all time. Not going to sit here and tell you that the Vikings crushed it and this is vintage Cressy Adolfo-Mensa or Kevin O'Connell and their draft was inspiring. It was fine. If I'm giving it a grade, it's C+. Nothing crazy, nothing awful, nothing outstanding. But I want you to look at the win total, the over-under here. 8.5? What? How is the win total so low for the Minnesota Vikings? Now, I do have to confess, I despise, absolutely loathe the trade for Sam Howell. I don't think Sam Howell's any good. I don't think Sam Howell could play. And if J.J. McCarthy is not 100% healthy, remember the former Michigan star, first-round pick, didn't take a rep at practice or play it down last year because he ripped up his knee in training camp. So that's why the Rodgers conversation was real. That's why the Darnold bringing him back conversation was real, because of the health concerns for McCarthy. Now, we had Kevin O'Connell on our SiriusXM radio show at the Super Bowl. He said McCarthy would be ready to go. But I thought they would put a higher premium on a better backup quarterback. They wanted to bring back Daniel Jones, but he's going to get an opportunity here to be the starter, obviously, in Indianapolis. Listen, I think there is a case to be made for all four teams in that division to win it, right? Right now, today, and we are early, and NFL schedule is going to be released in 2 weeks from today, I think the Vikings are the team to beat in the division. There is a brain drain in Detroit. I love Chicago. I don't like the fact they did not draft a running back. I thought that was crazy. I think the Packers are really good. I don't think they're great. They're not set up for a Super Bowl run. But with Matt LaFleur, they should be able to win 10-plus games and find a way to make the playoffs. So I want you to take a look at the odds board here, right? I mean, I can't stress enough how much I love the Vikings at plus 400. Also, look at how competitive and how low these win totals are. And think about Detroit. I think Vegas nailed it on the Lions. You know, they were in, the 11.5 to 12.5 range at this time last year. A lot of people picking them to win a Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl, win the conference. I'm just telling you, I don't view the Lions as a lock for anything. And I would bang the plus 400 for the Vikings to win the division right about now. And certainly the over when it comes to both the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. The LA Lakers, the season is on the brink. And I'm just telling you right here, right now, it'll be a complete and utter disgrace and a debacle and a letdown if LeBron and Luka and J.J. Redick and Austin Reeves get bounced in the first round. You know who thinks they're going to win tonight? Vegas. Take a look at the numbers for the odds for tonight. I mean, you can't even bet the Lakers money line because it's just not even remotely worth the squeeze here in terms of the juice. I mean, it's minus 230, right? But how about this? LeBron and the Lakers face an elimination. Last 20 elimination games in his career, LeBron, in 20 of them, has 25 or more points in 19 of the 20, 8 or more rebounds in 19 of the 20. Luka Doncic facing elimination. He's played in 8 elimination games in his career. He has scored 28 or more points in all 8. Listen, Lakers are going to win tonight. They have no choice. And I know that almost sounds funny, right? But they can't lose this game. I still can't believe J.J. Redick didn't play his bench down the stretch of that game. First time in NBA history that there were 0 bench minutes in the second half of a playoff game. That's crazy. I mean, where the hell was Vanderbilt? I mean, no sense. Lakers, I thought, were going to win that game after that incredible third quarter. Just disappointing. Absolutely disappointing. And I think when you take a look at the series here, it's now massive favorites, obviously, 3-1, in terms of the Timberwolves being out in front. Listen, I think the best bet on the board is Minnesota in 6, and it goes back to Minnesota. I still hold out some kind of hope on the Lakers finding a way. Warriors looking to close out their series tonight, and it's over. And I think it ends tonight. I originally said the Warriors in 6. I think the Warriors will win in 5. I am stunned by the odds on this one. Absolutely floored. Rockets by 4? I mean, that's getting a rocket red glare as far as I'm concerned. I mean, what the hell is that? I instantly would grab Golden State with the points, not to mention plus 150 on the money line. I mean, Steph Curry, are you kidding me? Steph Curry in a closeout game, the guy is historically unbelievable. Same with Jimmy Butler when you take a look at what he does historically in closeout games. This is why playoff Jimmy is a real thing. So I think this series is over. Semantics on when it happens. And I think there is a very realistic chance when you take a look at the odds board for the series, very realistic chance that it happens tonight. How about the hockey? How about my Oilers last night? Let's go. We had all the haters, all the critics, all the Twitter tough guys. Adam, come on, your Oilers, pathetic, terrible job, betting on them, believing in them. It's funny, I didn't get any of those tweets last night. The Twitter tough guys must have lost their phone, forgot their username or password. I mean, are you kidding me? How about my Oilers? They're now up 3-2 in this series with the LA Kings, and it's a big deal considering they were down 0-2, considering in Game 4 they were down big and then tied it up and Draisaitl in overtime, and last night, no doubt. So look at the series odds board, and we are still enamored with this team, in love with this team, believing in this team, and, this was a pick'em series to start. Not anymore. Oilers minus 360 to beat the LA Kings. Okay. I'm a little braggadocious here on the Oilers. I'm starting to get a little nervous about the Leafs. Just a little. Just because I wanted them to close it out against the Senators, who are not very good last night. And to say they spit the bit would be not even doing it justice. They got punked, shut out, humiliated. At home against Ottawa, 4-0. And now all the negativity, all the conversation, everything seeps in. I still love the Leafs. I still like them to win the series. But, man, this really makes me nervous. Golden Knights able to beat the Wild in overtime. Vegas leads the series 3-2. We have Vegas winning this series. And I expect that you're going to see Vegas ultimately get it done. And I said originally 7. We will stay with that for the Golden Knights over the Minnesota Wild. Hockey slate tonight. I think Washington is going to be able to take care of business. I have been so dead wrong in every possible way with the Lightning and the Panthers. I will give the Lightning one more shot and take them to win, minus 112, basically a pick'em, and play Gloria. We're rolling tonight with the Blues, obviously a plus 150. Best bets brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of VSIN. G-Bank is up in the all ante with a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First new customers spend $1,000 on eligible purchases 90 days from account opening. Get a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the first 30 days of the account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. VSIN.com/GBank, subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. We locked it in this morning. We're going to roll with it. You can still get it at 4.5 at certain places, including DraftKings. The Warriors plus 4.5. I still can't believe the spread on this game. Stay tuned to VSiN after Make It Rain. Follow the money. Mitch and Paulie are back at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Can't wait for that. Then it's VSiN Prime Time at 7 p.m. Then cashing out at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks to our incredible crew in Vegas, the Dream Team, Sean and Larry and Matt. How about Matt? Matt Strong, playing through a headache today, playing through pain. Toughness in the Vegas studios. Major respect. Our incredible producer, Mike Cohen. We'll talk to you mañana. Make it rain with Adam Schein.